I'd like to really open the meeting by a very big thank you to you all for the support in joining us today on our official annual meeting. Not forgetting the chairs of Wales that are supporting me today. Thank you, ladies. You're such friends. But most of all, our national chair, Anne Jones. Thank you, Anne, and I love your dresser. Every time I see the visual thing, I look at all your china. So lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Myself and the Board of Trustees officers were really looking forward to meeting you in person. We had to make a sensible decision for everyone's safety. But I'm sure you'll enjoy our Pembrokeshire style annual meeting. This year we've made a little bit of a twist with it, and I'm hoping this is going to work for us as well. We've combined it with one of our most popular events every year. Our ladies are met at the Torch Theatre, where they put on their acts. Some amazing ladies out there that love doing it. It's organised by Pat James, our Sports and Leisure Chairman. So in between a bit of business, we're going to pop in a WI show and let you see their skills. Some amazing ladies out there. It's been 2 years since they've been on stage and we've missed them greatly. Alongside these acts is our own very ukulele band. And would you believe they've been meeting on Zoom on lockdown every week, and they're going to perform to you today as well. So anyone who wants to join the ukulele band, I'm sure you would love it. Something I'd love to try, and I keep promising myself, but never get round to it. Thank you to Barbara Braybrook. So we're going to start with Menevia WI, just to entertain you for a moment. Menevia is celebrating their 50 years this year. I had the privilege to go to a wonderful garden at the back of the cathedral at St. David's, where they put a seat in the community garden.
I say, why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Because the chicken behind him was not socially distancing properly.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Seriously, don't touch my door and stand back at least 6 foot. Knock, knock. Go home. You're supposed to be social distancing.
Day 121 at home with the dog. And he's looking at me like, see, this is why I chew the furniture.
I've gained so much weight during lockdown. My bathroom scale is telling it can only weigh one person at a time.
Ooh. What's the best way of not touching your face? A glass of wine in each hand.
What a good idea. I would make a COVID-19 joke, but it would be tasteless.
I have a teacher joke. What's the worst part of homeschooling? You can't get students out of your class.
And I have a grandmother joke. 2 friends were bragging about their precious little darlings. And one said to the other, mine are just so good at social distancing, they don't even call me.
Oh.
I'll tell you a coronavirus joke now, but it will take you at least 2 weeks for you to get it.
Whose idea was it to sing happy birthday while washing your hands? Now, every time I go to the bathroom, my kids expect me to walk out with a cake.
It's probably why you've got problems with the scales. Have you heard the coronavirus joke? Never mind, I don't want to spread it around.
I have got some breaking news. Apparently the first person in Melbourne to die because of the coronavirus. In his house, they found 1,000 tins of food, 50 kilos of pasta, 80 kilos of rice, 300 toilet rolls, and 5 litres of hand sanitizer. Panic bought at the supermarket just in case. The whole lot collapsed and buried him.
Now is definitely not the time to surround yourself with positive people.
In 9 months' time, there is going to be a baby boom. And 12 years later, should we still be here, we will witness the arrival of the quarantines.
Now we are going to recite to you an ode to the year 2020. 'Twas a month before Christmas, and all through the town people wore masks that covered their frown. The frown had begun way back in the spring when a global pandemic changed everything.
They called it Corona, but unlike the beer, it didn't bring good times, it didn't bring cheer. Airplanes were grounded, travel was banned, borders were closed across air, sea and land.
As the world entered lockdown to flatten the curve, the economy halted and folks lost their nerve. From March to July, we rode the first wave. People stayed home, they tried to behave.
When summer emerged, lockdown was lifted, but away from caution, many folks drifted. Now it's December, and cases are spiking. Wave 2 has arrived, much to our disliking.
It's true that this year has had sadness aplenty. We'll never forget the year 2020. And just round the corner, the holiday season. But why be merry? Is there even one reason?
To decorate the house and put up the tree. Who will see it? No one but me. But outside my window, the snow gently falls, and I think to myself, let's deck the halls.
So I gather the ribbon, the garland and bows. As I play these old carols, my happiness grows. Christmas is not cancelled, and neither is hope. If we lean on each other, I know we can cope.
Well done, ladies. That was lovely. That's Menevia again, and they're a wonderful group. And I heard this week they're in St David's and they're very active in the cathedral and all in town. And they've picked up a lot of new members, which is wonderful. So this is happening a lot with a lot of our WIs. They're picking up members, and a lot of it is because they've kept the happiness going. They're out on the streets, they're making awareness, and where they've met is people are picking up more and more members, which is great for us. Thank you, Menevia, and celebrating your 50 years. It's been a joy to come to your teas. So we're going to go on to the next piece, which is the minutes of the last annual meeting. If anybody had any arising, we haven't had anything in the office. Please put it in the chat box and we'll deal with it accordingly. Now, the roll call is usually done, as you know, at the pavilion, where you all shout out how many's got in your minibus, how many you've all got coming, and we all try and outdo each other. This year, it's obviously been done technically with the Zoom when you booked your ticket. But come on, ladies, can we have a wave now to see who's in this building today? Can you wave me that you're with your WI today? Lovely. Thank you very much. I can't count you all, but I know you're all there. I know all your faces, especially a few of you out there. And if you're Judy there, if you're there, Judy Smith, I hope you're with us today. You're my little favourite, and I know you've been very poorly. Thank you very much. The annual report from Kate Kelly. Let's see if we can get that up. Our secretary now, please. Over to you, Kate.
I'm on my way. I'm just sharing my screen. If you bear with me. Here we are. It's coming up. Just bear with me a second. Here we are. So it gives me great pleasure today to look back on the previous year, what we've been doing with the Federation. Without further ado, I'll get on with it. Here we are. So it's going to be in order of the month. So we've got December here. We have national recognition for Jenny Poole, who won the first prize for Not in My Name competition. As you can see, what a lovely photograph. hit me to the post. I only got third prize. Oh, sorry, back one. Here we are with, oops, sorry, bear with me a second, I'm clicking too many things. Here we are with our winter months, where WIs found ways of reaching out to both their members and to the general community, which was absolutely wonderful to share with everybody. So we have Mafra here with their Winter Wonderland competition, where they decorated festive windows. As you can see, it looked wonderful. Burton WI had a walk with lots of hearts and decorated pictures and embroidered pieces, all sending very positive messages to each other, which was lovely too. And we managed to leave messages in community outdoor spaces such as Budick. And of course, we had our Trustee Buddy scheme, where trustees rang up committee members and those people who we thought would like a friendly phone call. So moving on, competition, where they decorated festive windows. As you can see, it looked wonderful. Burton WI had a walk with lots of hearts and decorated pictures and embroidered pieces, all sending very positive messages to each other, which was lovely too. And we managed to leave messages in community outdoor spaces such as Budick. And of course, we had our Trustee Buddy scheme, where trustees rang up committee members and those people who we thought would like a friendly phone call. So moving on, in March, well, our centenary was launched. We launched a competition, 100 years, 100 words writing. And we've already discussed that in our newsletters. And the WI Centenary Challenge was launched. We needed to find 100 things to do, and it's still ongoing. There's a bit more on that later on another slide. Of course, we had our Zoom birthday party, as you can see, all the fabulous hats, and that was very successful, which was the official date, the 12th of March. You might recognise a few faces there. And then we have Francis Phillips, who won our new logo design, which we introduced, celebrating our centenary. Well done, Francis, it was beautiful. And here's a slide about us meeting the challenge and embracing technology to fill the gap. So obviously we've been using Zoom for quite a while now, but we've still got things to learn. The Federation provided a Zoom license . There we are. I don't know quite what happened there. Hopefully you can hear me. Jenny, can you put your thumbs up so I know everybody can hear me still? Brilliant.
Got muted, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so we provided training for Zoom and out of our support where needed to get people up and running when they have problems. We introduced a security process and a booking system, which was all new for the Federation, which we have in place and extend it this winter if we need it. March the 8th was a very special day because we really embraced Zoom, because we have speakers from all around the world. So that's lovely, and I know they're extending that next year as well. We also had popular wildlife shorts, which were very well attended. And the beauty of that is we had members from different WIs coming together and enjoying the experts and their slides. We had our first online annual council meeting in May, which was a bit late because obviously it was of COVID. And we've extended our Facebook and Instagram presence, keeping you all in touch and sharing all your wonderful photographs and stories and news items so that we can cheer everybody up and keep them linked. Move forward now. Oops, sorry, two more. There we are. Sorry about that. The Federation making most of the fresh air. That's my next slide. As you can see, we've had lots of lovely events this year. We started off in April. We had centenary walking treasure hunts. This was a new idea. People went in pairs to keep with the rules. And we had one in St David's and one in Milford Haven, and they were really well attended. You could do it over a whole month before you had to put your entries in. We also had in June, we had a lovely foraging day, which was well attended on a beach, and we had another centenary walk in the north. September, we had a centenary walk in Goodwick. Gosh, it was hot. And in October, there was a gorgeous Peru tour and walk. So a little wetter there, I think. Of course, we had the launch of our Federation Money Raising 2022 calendar, which was a bit special this year. We tried a new format and we had some sponsorship, and it's gone down a storm. Now, here's that slide I promised you, meeting the 100 Things Challenge. Be inspired, there is still time. Now, there's some pictures of Sam, our Vice Chair, completing the 100K challenge. We had Puncheston WI donating over 100 items for Patch, our local Pembrokeshire charity, and Puncheston WI knitting 100 blankets for dementia charity. Just a few examples that we know of, and there's more to come, I'm sure. Here we are in June, taking part in the national conference at WI House. We had a big screen up and in our homes, so we could do it safely. And here are a few activities that we've managed to fit into WI House this year. In July, we had foam painting with watercolours. There were some very good artists. And in September, we held several treasurer training sessions related to whatever anybody wanted to cover, but they definitely covered this day. We also launched the Salton Manor project, which is still ongoing and will complete next year. As you can see, they've built this rather remarkable children's play area where they're going to use it for educational purposes with the schools, and they asked us to make animals and birds for the children to play with or look at while they're there. And it's all linked to Pembrokeshire wildlife. So we're beginning to get those items into WI House. Oh, we've got some talented ladies out there. And this is my final slide. This is all about celebrating WI life in Pembrokeshire. Now, I apologise if your WI is not on here, but I just couldn't fit any more on. Thank you for sharing all your wonderful photographs. I've just put these on. I've chosen these because it shows variety of activities that we do. And the Federation doesn't exist without you ladies and your WIs. So the Federation level are delighted to see you all having so much fun. So we have Longland District Tea Party. I can't see all the details on my screen here. Hayes Castle Flower Art, Croyscroft Murder Mystery, Duke of Edinburgh Pims Beach Party. Looks like they have the sun for that. Tavern Spike at Picton Castle, Burton Garden Party, and I know both of Lloyd's had a lovely garden tour, and Camrose had fun and games. That looked like somebody laughing a lot there. So thank you. That is the end of my review of the year. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much indeed. The laughing lady is Pauline Jones, we all know, and you look lovely in the hat, Pauline. I think it's wonderful. Now it's my time to give you my chairman's report. I apologise I didn't say the first thing. I was learning from Tidwell Morgan this morning and yesterday. I hope I pronounce it right, Tidwell and Anne Jones. Croesoa. Am I right? Or Croesoa? Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm definitely banjo first, ukulele first, and Welsh next I'm going for. So this is my chairman's report. It's a first chairman's report for face-to-face meeting for a very long time. How lovely to see you all, and thank you all for coming today. I'm coming to my end of my 6th year as a chairman with so many stories to tell. It'll take me another 6 years, not forgetting the tea and cake, to tell you some of them. What strange times we've all been going through. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Kate, our not so new secretary, who has just experienced COVID but come back to us safely, who has been holding us together, not forgetting my vice chairs, Iwin and Sam, who have been very supportive. Our new treasurer, Margaret Bond, has worked tirelessly through this difficult year. But most of all, the BOT, the Board of Trustees and the advisors, although working from home at times, have been unbelievable. What a lovely team of ladies you've been. Our chairman of the Calendar Girls, Catherine Wilkins, well, what an inspiration this young lady is. She's proved with her team, Heather, Pat and Margaret, they've produced a new calendar. After years of using the same format, it was all change. And you know what us old ladies are like, change we don't like, but by God, this has hit the ground running. With such hard work and dedication, it's well paid off financially. But most exciting of all, the letter from the Queen in Balmoral, plus the Duchess of Wessex, which was posted from my local post office at Letterston. There is a procedure to post a royal letter, which I did for Catherine. The young lady behind the counter was so excited that I took a copy of both royal letters to her, and she's put them in the window at the post office. So while you're queuing to go in one at a time, she's getting a tremendous press, this young lady, and she's thrilled to bits. And I've just delivered more calendars to her because she sold the last lot. So we're getting out there bit by bit. I must now come to the biggest thank yous of all. You, the members, for all your support, not to mention your enthusiasm. What an inspiration you've been, making sure you hold your meetings. Some I've been very fortunate to be invited to, in your garden, in parks, in hall car parks. I've even been in a polytunnel recently, vineyards and the bug farm with Menevia's 50T. But the one from my impression, I went with my Vice Chairman, Sam Wilson-Croft, to the Pride Picnic, which I found absolutely fascinating. And in the middle of it, I was introduced to several ladies. One, I was a little bit cautious, lots of tattoos and earrings and nose earrings as well. But she was a prison officer from London, and she actually belongs to the WIs in her prison. So we had a long conversation about things and the inspiration to help women. So let's hope over the next few months, we can all get back to some normality and enjoy all the things we like in our WIs. Meet up with our friends again. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the meeting. Thank you very much, ladies, for attending us today. I'm going to hand you now to Margaret Bond, our treasurer that has worked tirelessly this year with all the bank issues, etc. Over to Margaret.
Thank you, Jenny. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our guests, our fellow trustees, and especially a warm welcome to our amazing members. Yes, this has been a very difficult year for us, but you, our members, have been such a great support to us, the trustees. Certainly, we've all been innovative and adventurous in order to meet. As Jenny's mentioned, we've transferred information in gardens, on picnics, foraging on the beaches, in barns, and many other strange places I think we've been. But we've also used Zoom and WhatsApp programs to make sure that we can actually see each other as well. I've also heard lovely stories of WIs putting together kutch bags for members, consisting of all sorts of goodies, sweets, smellies, garden tools, seeds, candles, quiz books. And in my own WI, our president even provided each member with a personally made bag. Some WIs delivered plants, flowers, and even young trees to their members. So everyone has been trying to keep in touch with everyone and show that they love and care for each other. I'm going to move on to the subscriptions. You may have already heard about the news for this coming year, but Jenny and I recently attended an NFWI meeting on Zoom for discussion and a vote on what the amount of subs should be. The vote was unanimous to remain the same at the present cost of £44 per year. So that was a bit of good news. I'd like to move on now to the accounts. The accounts have not been easy to deal with this year because we've had to change our programme that we were using and we changed accountants. But I'm pleased to inform you that our accounts have been completed and examined by our accountants, Bevan and Buckland. They've been printed now and copies have been sent out both electronically and hard copies to each WI. I apologise that these were later than normal, but everything seemed to take longer during the pandemic, and even the accountants were inundated with accounts from many organisations at round about the same time as I was trying to put ours through. The accountants have, however, been extremely supportive over the last year. They've helped me tremendously, and they run our monthly payroll, and they deal with all of the difficult organisations. You'll know them, the HMRC and the Charity Commission, etc. However, with our accounts, there were no problems, and the accountants were very pleased to sign them off and gave us a list of financial highlights. I'm going to read them to you because they are positive. One was a surplus for the year of £713. In the previous year, the surplus was £330. Our reserves have increased to £107,477. And the previous year, this was 106,764. So we gained some money there. Cash at the bank was mainly consistent with the previous year at £40,586 this year against £40,455 last year. Phew, we just scraped through. Over the year, we managed to remain solvent, and again, many thanks to your treasurers out there in the WIs for getting payments into us on time. I know it's been very difficult dealing with banks and post offices. It's not been easy. When you've had time to review the accounts, if you have any questions or queries from them, then please don't hesitate to give me a ring or send me an email. Now, it's time for me now to ask you officially if it is your wish for Bevan and Buckland to be reappointed as our auditors for this next year. I'm going to ask for a show of hands, and Kate will just count to make sure if we have a majority. So could I ask for a show of hands, please? Okay. Okay, Katie. So I'm hoping that that's all been counted by now. And I'd like to just carry on a little bit further to say it's been so good to start now to receive applications for the coming year and from you, our faithful members. We've also asked for feedback from you on some of the previous events that Kate mentioned, which was very positive. And unfortunately, we've at times had to cancel events that were planned, but this is mainly with the safety of you and your members in mind. But we do value your support when possible, and I really do not like having to write loads of checks for refunds, so the less we can cancel, the better. The Board of Trustees working together try to support any new ideas, and we're hoping soon to get back to normal, fingers crossed and everything else. We've also recently had a boost in applications from new members. Just to finish my session, I want to say a few thank yous. Firstly, to my fellow trustees, particularly our tech team for arranging today and making this happen. To Kate, who enjoyed us halfway through the last financial year. She soon settled in, mind you, and has been a great help to us all and a support throughout the last year. To Heather, who has helped me tremendously in setting up a new accounting system, which I'm sure will make life easier in the future. Finally, to Jenny, who has worked tirelessly over the year, contacting members individually and got to meet them, and many of you when it was just safe to do so. She's been out and about in a little car running around all over the place. Well, thank you for listening to me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the meeting, and I look forward to meeting you all as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. One of the worst jobs of all, the treasurer, but she's done a wonderful job and I'm very proud of her. Thank you very much for the ladies that have been helping her as well. Now, this gives me great pleasure. I've been waiting to do this for many years, because this lady I've known for a long time, and I've got photos of us way back. So now we come to our speaker for today. I'm so honoured to introduce Anne Jones, our National Chairman. I've known Anne for some years and watched her achieve so much, but most of all to give all her enthusiasm, not to mention dedication to inspiring everyone that if you want anything in life, you most definitely can achieve it. So it's my greatest pleasure to welcome Anne Jones, our National Chairman, to Pembrokeshire. If only we were in the pavilion, we would be bringing the roof down, ladies, I'm sure, where all the ladies will be giving her a very warm welcome. Over to you, Anne, and thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. Do you know, those are going to be tough words to live up to, aren't they?
Yes.
But, do you know, I feel so comfortable because I'm here amongst friends in Pembrokeshire. It's funny, having grown up in Carmarthenshire, Ceredigion and Pembrokeshire have always been very close-knit. So I really feel the warmth and good wishes that come from you all. And at this point, can I just say thank you to each and every WI member, the Board of Trustees, who've all sent me such lovely messages congratulating me. You know, I don't know whether I can live up to your expectations, but I certainly will do my best. And with the board I have behind me, I'm certain we can move the WI onwards to bigger and better things. Don't worry about the technical hitches that have happened today. This is what life throws at us. Yeah, the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, has been one of those things, hasn't it? It's thrown us all into a sort of disarray, but somehow we've come out of it, or are coming out of it, and still going well. And that's exactly how you'll be today. This will be a memorable meeting, not for the things that we couldn't do, but because we've been able to join together and just enjoy each other's company, even if it's only on the screen. Now, the last time I was with you in Pembrokeshire, I think it was in Saundersfoot, because I've been with you a few times, so I think it was in Saundersfoot. And you really do have remarkably talented members in Pembrokeshire, because as I walked in, the first thing I was given was a cushion. And somebody's smiling because they know that they gave it to me, and it's this. So whether you can see it properly, but it is a dementia cushion. It was a fiddle or twiddle cushion, so it's got little zips and buttons, and in the folds it's got little buttons in there as well. And it was given to me because somebody had heard me speak about dementia and the fact that my father has dementia. And I can assure you that this cushion is looking a bit worse for wear now, has had a lot of love, brought him a lot of contentment. I'm not going to say happiness, because you never know when they're going through dementia, whether they're happy or not, but definitely it calmed him. So I just want to thank you as a federation for giving my father that opportunity to find calmness because of your kindness. And today is no different, because look what I'm wearing. This beautiful corsage that you sent to me, again made by one of your talented members. Now, I don't know whether you can see it. If we were in person, you would be able to see how absolutely gorgeous it is. Really, really lovely. So thank you for that. Again, it makes me feel as if we're together, because you've already given me something to make me feel part of Pembrokeshire. I like the way you start the meeting, by the way. Have I gone?
No, you're still there, you're fine.
Do you know, computers frighten the life out of you, don't they? My screen went blank. And I do have times when my broadband goes down, but today it isn't saying that, so we're crossing our fingers. What I was going to say was that I loved the music you had at the beginning. So joyous, a good time to be alive. And yes, it has been tough, but it actually is a very good time to be alive. And we should be thankful that we are alive, that we're getting through all of this. And that was by Lady A, I think. And then the next one was Bonfire Hat by James Blunt, which is another one of my favorites. So thank you for playing that. It just puts you in the mood, doesn't it, for a good, joyous day. Now, I know Sam put up there about any questions. Just pop them in the chat box whenever, because today all I want is for us to have a conversation together. This isn't a set speech. I've got a few pointers that I will go towards, but this is me and you having a chat about life and all its issues, about my time as chair, and my journey to get there. So it is nearly 6 months since I was elected national chair. And do you know one of the strangest things? The national board haven't yet met in person. So I haven't had the board together at all. Every meeting so far has been on Zoom or Teams. So we've got 4 new board members who haven't met each other, and I haven't met them. Strange, isn't it? If we'd said this a few years ago, that we could still run the organisation, even though we hadn't physically and personally met. Now, we are looking forward this week. Gerald Stone is on the call, who's the National Treasurer. Nice to see you, Gerald. And we are looking forward this coming week to the first opportunity of meeting together. We are all going to London for our first board meeting. But unfortunately, 2 can't be with us for various reasons. And I think this is where we're at, isn't it? We have to think how comfortable people are about meeting in person, or whether they want to remain online, or whether they want to remain outdoors. So, you know, this is where we have to be a little bit flexible, which brings us back to the strategic vision about being bold, flexible, inclusive, and growing. So I think that's something for COVID that we need to think about: flexibility, not be rigid. Last night, my own WI, we had our committee meeting, and I don't know how this happened, but I've agreed to be the correspondence secretary, would you believe? You know, it's not as if I've got anything else to do, really. You know, I'm only the national chair, but that's fine. That's what we're like. That's what we tend to do. We say yes because that's the automatic thing to do. And I'll enjoy it, and it'll keep me in touch with my own WI far more anyway. But we were together last night and planning our programme for the coming year, and thinking about what we could do and what we couldn't do. So we decided that we would try and be ambitious and have a programme, but have it from local people, so that we weren't bringing people into the area from distances, but also they're people that are within our community that we should honour and should have been invited years ago to speak to us in the WI. So one of the first ones we're having in is the Community Council. You know, we've got lots of new members, which is a wonderful thing, but they don't know their community council, they don't know their councillors, they don't know what they do. So this is an opportunity to make them feel part of the village. So I think that's a message that we can get out there, is to remember that when we have new members, they don't know about everything that we do, or all the jargon that we talk about. We have to drop these things in gradually and gently and try to bring them up to speed, because I'm sure many of you have been in meetings where everybody's talking about things and you think, I haven't got the foggiest what you're on about. Because they're all used to talking to each other. You're the new person there, and they're not explaining to you what they're discussing. So if we can remember these lovely new members that we're gaining, to include them and make sure that they're with us on the journey, because it'll be a far better time for them. And I know some of you will be thinking, what new members? But you know, this is the perfect time for new members, because we are coming through a very, very difficult time. And if anything, there's more of a need for the WI than ever before. Whenever I see anybody, whether it's in the supermarket or just out for a walk, people are lonely. I haven't seen anyone for a long time, is the message that I'm getting through. And I think as a women's organisation, we need to reach out to other women and say, look, when you feel comfortable, our door is open for you to come through. Come and join us. You know, we will have a lot of fun. You know, we can laugh about the mistakes and errors that happen, but we can educate as well within the laughter. So having a mixed programme going forward is ideal to bring these lovely new members in. And on the scope of trying to get new members, you know, think about those that have recently moved into your village, particularly target them, and also those that have possibly finished work, retired early or taken retirement. They're ready now for WI. They may have said 10 times to you before, I haven't got time. Suddenly, they may have time and they may want to meet other people. Because once you finish work, again, it's incredibly lonely because you're used to being with other people. And now you're possibly with a partner or on your own. And the four walls can feel as if they're coming in on top of you. So reach out to these people and we will be stronger again. Now, my journey on how I got here. Now, some of you will know this because you've heard me before. I'm looking particularly at people like Francis and Tidville and Anne Newbury who know me very well. But some of you don't know me and you won't know that I was born on a dairy farm in Carmarthenshire, which is why I say Carmarthenshire, Pembrokeshire, Ceredigion, we're all interlinked. On a dairy farm, it was a perfect place to grow up. The freedom of being able to run about over the fields, the discipline of milking in the morning and the evening was also good because my parents were those who believed that children should work on the farm. They shouldn't just be there to be cared for. They needed to be nurtured to be workers throughout their life. I can well remember my father telling me when I was about 12 or 13, I wanted a Saturday job in town, like most of my other school friends did. And he said, oh, no, you know, no need for you to go and get a Saturday job. There's plenty of work here on the farm. But he misunderstood what I wanted. He thought I wanted money, so he paid me to work. But I wanted the bright lights of going into Carmarthen. Now, Carmarthen doesn't seem like a bright light place, but when you live in a little hamlet like Pontanton, which is on the road between Carmarthen and Llanelli, you know, Carmarthen was a big place, and I just wanted to be there in the lights. But Dad put in me a work ethic that if you want anything out of life, you have to work really hard to get there, but that nothing can stop you. It really is up to you if you want to do something. There may be hurdles that you have to jump over, and there may be obstacles in your way, but you will find a way around them if you're keen enough and if you try hard enough. You know, don't give up at the first attempt. There's always another opportunity comes up if you turn down the first time. So I went to a grammar school when I was in Carmarthen. It was a mixed grammar school, and I got into quite a lot of trouble, I have to admit, because I was a bit of a rebel. I like to break the uniform rules. I've never been one that likes to wear exactly the same as anybody else. So I'm glad the WI hasn't got a uniform. I couldn't wear it. So when we had a navy jumper, I'd have to have a navy jumper with white stripes on it. We had white socks. I had to have yellow socks. The answer was that our school tie was navy and yellow, so yellow socks was part of the school uniform. The fact that I looked like a chicken didn't help at all. But there we are. So I've been a bit of a rebel as well. Now, I didn't go to university. I could have done. I got the grades. I went to a technical college in Pembrokeshire. But again, my father, who played a big influence on my life, didn't believe that his daughter needed to go to university. Oh, waste of money sending you to university. You'll be married by the time you leave university, and that'll be a good education wasted. Go and get a job. So that's what I did, basically. I went and worked in the VAT office in Carmarthen, a great place, just myself and one other girl, and then all men. A great place to work, actually. And they were very encouraging in making sure that I developed as a person. They could have easily kept me as an officer there, but they wanted me to gain promotion and make something of my career within the civil service. So I sat the exams, and I was in London the day sitting my civil service exams at Admiralty Arch on the day that Prince William was born. So that'll give you some idea of my age. You can think when Prince William was born. There was no opportunity within the VAT office for promotion, even though I'd passed my exams. So I went to work in the DVLA in Swansea. Now, apologies to anybody who's ever worked in the DVLA, but I hated it. it wasn't a place for me at all. You know, there were thousands of people working there, and I felt like a tiny, tiny cog in this big wheel. I wanted to get home early to work. We worked flexible hours, which was quite ambitious at that time. So I'd get in the morning into work by 7:15. And it was a 3/4 of an hour drive to get to the DVLA. But I'd be leaving at 4 to get home in time to milk in the evening. So I didn't get into the social life of the work in the DVLA. And I think I probably missed out on that. But I have to say, it wasn't a happy time. And when my dad lost his health, it was an easy decision to take a sabbatical and to leave the DVLA and go home and work on the farm. I never went back. I took a 6-month sabbatical, but I never went back. Luckily, my father's health recovered, but by this time I'd met my husband, Ivan. And this is where the Cardiganshire link comes in, because he's from Llanddewi and a sheep farmer in Llanddewi. So, yeah, after we had a quick courtship, I moved up to Llanddewi and have enjoyed every single moment up there. Now, many of you will know that I don't like sheep at all. I think they're the silliest animals. You know, they say follow like sheep, and they do. If there's a hole and one goes through it, the whole lot will have to go through it. You know, the fact that there isn't enough grass on that side to feed 2 of them, let alone 300, yes, they'll still go through the hole. So they're not my favourite animals, but I've grown to respect them, and I've grown to care for them because I do love animals. And as a farmer, looking after your animals, whether they're sheep, cattle, pigs, horses, it's really important that you look after them and give them the time, care and attention that they deserve. So very happy being a farmer. But that isn't just my life, to be honest, because we also have a property business. So I let out flats and shops, and I spend a lot of my time scrubbing. In other words, cleaning joint areas in buildings, but also when flats and shops become vacant. So never look at my hands. I haven't got nails, and my hands are usually quite wrinkly because I've been in strong chemicals, etc., to do the cleaning. So never look at my hands. And what did I do then? I joined the WI, of course, as soon as I got married. My mother-in-law was one of those women who you couldn't say no to anyway, but she was a staunch WI member, had been a chairman of the Federation and had done a very short period on the national board, but found the travelling far too much for her. So when she said to me, come on, Anne, you need some female company, join the WI. I said yes. And Ivan looked at me as if I had horns growing out of my head and said, WI, you'll never like that. Somebody's put, you need to wear rubber gloves. Yes, I should do, but I can't. You'll never get on with the WI. It's not for you, Anne. Your YFC through and through. But I said I'd give it a go for a year just to please my mother-in-law. And, you know, best thing I ever did. It really was, because as soon as I walked in, you know, the hall was full of laughter. And it wasn't the women who were similar to my age, which was 25. It was those in their 70s, 80s and 90s that were having raucous laughter, you know, living life to the full. So I think having a cross-generation of women in that WI was the best thing that I could have had, because it showed to me that no matter what stage of life you're in, you can still live it and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be enjoyment purely for the under 30s. So as I said, never looked back as soon as I joined the WI. Being YFC, I was very keen on competitions. So when they said about competitions within the WI, it was quite natural for me to compete in floral art or in the cooperative. Now, members of Wales will know what I mean by the cooperative, which is the competition where you have a couple of craft items, some cookery and floral art, and you have a regional round in your federation, and then it goes on to the Rawaj. Now, we had big rivalry in my WI and my second WI, which is Tregaron. Now, Tregaron have won the cooperative many times, represented Ceredigion more than anybody else that I know. So when we beat them, wow, was that a day. And when we eventually won the Rawash, that was an even better day. You know, it's like a crowning glory on your time in the WI, that you actually achieved something together. And I think that's a strength for us, that we can do things not as individuals, but as groups. Now, I've seen in your photos at the beginning of the meeting, all the things that you've been doing this year. And you know, this has been such an unusual year that it isn't possible to do that many things. But there have been opportunities for you to do things, and you have had some wonderful results. You know, the Not in My Name was a terrific example, but I also love your new Federation badge, which I think is alive, bright and vibrant, and shows what we are, you know, what we should be, which is welcoming and alive. So what did I do in WI? Well, not a lot in the first couple of years, to be honest. Like many people, I just enjoyed my own little WI group. My kids were small, you know, my babies were born during the time I was a member, so I'd often not turn up until quite late because my husband hadn't come in from the farm and there was nobody to babysit. So first couple of years was just purely about going to my own WI and enjoying it. And I think this is where we in the Federation and National have to realise that although we put things on, it isn't for everybody. Not everyone can attend things because their life is busy with other things. It might be childcare, but it might be care of an elderly person, or it might be their work that stops them from participating in things you're putting on. There'll come a time when they're ready for it. So keep on putting things, because there came a time when I wanted to join the Federation, become an advisor, best job in the world. If anybody asks you to be a WI advisor, say yes. If you like meeting people, if you like talking, the WI advisor is the role for you. Now, I've been on loads of committees, and some of them are great, some of them are boring, some of them are trying, some of them are very enjoyable. But I've, from the day one, being a WI advisor, helping other WIs make the most of what they've got, encouraging them to do better, or congratulating them when they're doing a really brilliant job, being their friend when they're going through problems, and being there with them when they're having a day of joy. It's the best thing. And for those of you who never get in touch with your advisor, please do, because they will help you reinvigorate your WI and make it even better than it is today. So that's my journey. I ended up being Federation Chairman after a few years, and I did that for 3 years. Now, there's a bit of a story about 3 years, because I'm a firm believer in 3 years, which is first year is you're learning. You're as nervous as heck, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're paddling like mad. Second year, you're actually really enjoying it. Now you've got your feet under the table and you're doing well. Third year, preparing for your successor. And I think as WIs, we could adopt that as a good policy for presidents or secretaries or treasurers. Not saying as a rule, but that it's something we can encourage, because it brings people through the organizations, and each role we take on makes us stronger and gives us something special within us, makes us better people, and makes the WI itself a better person, because you bring in a new vision. Now, going back to my own WI last night, we have a brand new president, been a member for about 5 years, I think. I'd been on the committee for 2 years. Fantastic. It was a breath of fresh air last night, because her vision was so different from the others. And that's what you need. We need to keep reinventing ourselves. So you will have no surprise, subject to the board not throwing me out, which isn't unheard of. I will only do 3 years as national chairman. You can do 4, but I will only do 3, because I believe in that rule. And I believe in the opportunity of letting others follow me and come in and have their turn to do the work, because you know, it's a wonderful job. and others need the opportunity to do it. But there's also an ulterior motive. I do want to spend time with my family, with my children, and especially my grandchildren, as I've got 4 grandchildren, and they're growing up far too quickly. So you need to have a time when you say, I'll have done that. Now, what have I done in this first 6 months since I've been chair? As I said, most of it has been on Zoom, but Gerald and I were very fortunate on the first day of people being able to gather together properly in big venues in England. We went to the Royal Albert Hall to the 150th birthday of the Royal Albert Hall. And I think, to be honest, we were both a little bit nervous about going into such a big venue with a capacity crowd. And that was in July, I think, wasn't it, Gerald? We did feel a little bit nervous, but we didn't need to feel nervous. We got there early, got to our seats early, and it was amazing. You just felt as if you were home. And it is my one wish that we get back as a WI to have an annual meeting at the Royal Albert Hall, because it is the home of the WI. And throughout that night, they were referring to it as the village hall, as it, the village hall is our home, isn't it, for our individual WIs. And the Royal Albert Hall is our village hall as National Federation of WIs. So a brilliant evening, thoroughly enjoyed it, a great start to being the national chair. The next 2 events I went to were in Parliament. The first one was in the Speaker's apartment, and that was for the Climate Assembly final get-together. Now, some of you may know that I was an advisor on the Climate Assembly UK, which is the first citizens' assembly that the UK government have ever had. And it was 100 people brought in from all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different ethnicities, all different levels of knowledge about climate change, and all about, some of them didn't believe in climate change and some were campaigners. So you had a real cross-section of people. And my role as an advisor was to make sure that the speakers they put in front of the assembly were balanced. They weren't giving to one way or the other for the arguments, and that the topics that were covered were the right topics that we thought would help them, and that it was pitched at the right level for each one to understand. As I said earlier about going to meetings where people are talking in jargon and you have no idea what they're on about. So it's really important that it was pitched at the right level. So this was a final meeting, and it was wonderful to see how these assembly members had grown in confidence, and how they were now campaigners. They weren't just people who had taken part in this huge survey in a way, but they'd actually become enthusiastic about climate change and wanted to make sure that everybody heard the arguments about why we're going through climate change and what we can do about it. And the second one was at the House of Commons, and that was an APPG report launch. Now, APPG is an all-party parliamentary group, and it was on plastics. And this is the first time that the NFWI have been the secretariat for an APPG group, which is making history yet again, that the NFWI were invited to be the secretariat of that. And that's purely because of one of the drop-in sessions that we held a few years ago in Parliament, and where one of the MPs, Alberto Costa, came in through the door. And I remember him coming in, and he came in and he said, "Tell me all about it. I haven't got much time, and then we'll have a photo together." And I thought, okay, he's not very interested, but I told him all about it. He had a light bulb moment and decided that something needed to be done about it. And he delivered. And yet I thought when he came in that he was wasting my time. I was wasting his time. It wasn't. It's amazing, isn't it? You can't say who you're going to influence. I know I'm running out of time. Have I got 5 more minutes?
We have got a question here that we need to ask you as well.
Okay, is that in the chat or not?
No, I've got it in front of me, Anne.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll quickly finish up with just a few other things that I've been doing. One of them was the unveiling of a plaque for Grace Haddow. Now, many of you won't know who Grace Haddow was. She was the first NFWI vice chairman. And you would think, well, what's special about the vice chairman? Because we know about Lady Denman, who was the first chairman. But Grace Haddow was the brains and the vision behind NFWI, because Lady Denman was the front-facing, she was the leader, and which you always have to have. But this was the person behind who had that vision on what NFWI could achieve. And she was recognised by the Oxfordshire Blue Plaque Association. So it was really lovely to be invited to be there and to speak and to unveil her plaque. And that is one that's going to stay in my mind. There have been other events with other federations, but we can skip those. Can I urge you to attend the No More Violence Vigil, whether you're having one in Pembrokeshire, or whether you intend going to one in Cardiff, or whether you just want to take photographs of yourselves with a candle or a candle on a table and post it on social media, whatever you feel comfortable with. But the vigil will be on next Monday. I think it's at 7 o'clock in Cardiff. So if you're not joining them, if you could put a photo of a candle up, that would be really appreciated, because we did this last year and it was shared far and wide and made a huge impact. Social media is brilliant, but you have to bombard it to make any influence across the country. So I'm urging you to do that. And then before I have that question, I just finished by saying that I recently did a radio program in Welsh with Betty George, and she asked me lots of questions about my life. And I had one of those light bulb moments about why I am like I am. And it was because I won a scholarship to go out to Sri Lanka with the Young Farmers Movement. And when I went to Sri Lanka, there were two of us, a lad and myself. David was hosted by the dignitaries of Colombo and other towns that we stayed in Sri Lanka. But I stayed with normal families, quite poor families who didn't have water, electricity or sanitation. And I learnt a lot about the difficulty of life. I grew up overnight and I knew about equality. And I think for me, that was why probably I've been a campaigner, why I loved being chair of public affairs, why I love being in the WI, because we can and do make a difference. Each and every one of us has a voice. We just have to use it. And if we use it as a collective voice, wow, we can make some noise. So that was my light bulb moment of realizing that's why I believe in these things. That's why I campaign for equality. That's why I cannot stand violence against women and modern slavery and all the other inequalities that we fight against. Sorry, getting emotional. And then I'm going to finish with a quote that I think would help us all when we realize that we can't please everybody. And it's from Abraham Lincoln, and you probably know it. You can please some of the people all of the time. You can please all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. Do the best we can, be the best we can. Kindness and positivity. That's my message to you. So now for the question, Jenny.
This is a very interesting question that's just been slipped down the stairs to me. Anne Fraser is our chairman of Community and Environment, a wonderful lady. And she's Scottish and she's been up home to see mum. She's been in contact with the president of the Scottish WI. Their CEO is keen to develop links. Is that something that could be considered in the future?
Yes, strangely enough, we were at COP26, not me personally, but the Public Affairs team and Nikki Amos, who is now the chair of Public Affairs. And they met up with the chair of the Scottish Women's Institute and the new CEO, Diane, and had lunch together. And we're going to have meetings to see how we can work together more, because the Scottish Women's Institute, unfortunately, they haven't come along to campaign as much as we do. In fact, I don't think they campaign at all. But both the chair and the CEO are very keen to learn from what we've done. So there's a possibility that we might be able to share resources, but definitely inspire them and lead them down the right path to be able to campaign. You know, give them tips on how to connect with policymakers and to remain neutral and not to be political in any way, shape or form, which is just as important in Scotland as it is in Wales and England.
Thank you. Anne will be pleased with that. She's made contact all over the world at the moment. We've had some amazing speakers. So thank you for that.
Jill has put in that it's 6 o'clock at the Senedd, not 7 o'clock. And good luck, Jill, because I understand that you will be there leading the vigil instead of Ariane. Unfortunately, yes. Ariane's family have health issues at the moment.
There we are.
Yes, that's quite right.
I'm going to give you Tidval Morgan now for your return of your talk. I'm sure you know Tidval. And we chose Tidval because she's Welsh speaking and we thought you'd feel at home. So over to you, Tidval, please. You need to unmute.
Yeah, done that. Right, well, Madam Cadeirydd, that's you, Jenny. A chi aelodau Federation Sir Benfro. Wel, mae'n bleser mawr dy fi i fod gael y cyfle heddi i rhoi y diolch i Ann am ddod i siarad â ni. Mae'n bleser o hyd i'ch gweld chi a llongyfarchiadau mawr iawn am fod yn gadeirydd y cenedlaethol a diolch am rhoi eich amser i ddod y pnawn yma. Treni bod ni ddim yn gallu cwrdd yn wyneb yn wyneb, ond fel chi'n gweud, mae Zoom yn fendigedig pan mae'n gweithio. Right, for those of you who don't understand the language of heaven, what I've just said is thank you very much to Anne for coming and giving us her time today and speaking to us. You know, I can relate to Anne quite a lot because I started in WI before my daughter was born, and she is 45 today. It's her birthday today. She'll be very pleased I've told you that, but she will love it. But yes, and about childcare and the farm and everything, having my husband come in to do after milking, to look after her while I went to WI, well, that was an experience. Because fathers today now change nappies without thinking. At that time, it was towel and nappies, and he changed her nappy, and she ended up with 3 pins holding this nappy, and it still slipped down. So he wasn't very, very first time and ever. First and only time he ever did it. Anyway, thank you very much, Anne, for coming. It's absolutely wonderful to see you, and next time in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tidval. You can't see them all, but we've got Mr. and Mrs. Barker, James and Joyce Barker. I was going to get them sitting next to you, Anne, to host you because they were Welsh speaking, but they did give me a little secret that you did win the competition at the Royal Welsh Show as Miss Royal Welsh. They didn't give me the details of what year, but they were going to bring me a photo to the pavilion. So there's another little niche. We get that on Facebook somewhere. Thank you very much.
1982, Jenny.
1982. Okay, we'll remember that. Yeah, once Joyce gets me the picture, it's going on our Facebook page. Thank you very much. I'm now going to introduce Pat James. Pat's our chairman of Sports and Leisure, but she's standing in very kindly today for a colleague called Gemma Baker. She's going to give you a little brief outline of the Period Poverty Project. It's something she was going to have staged at the pavilion to make awareness. So if I could get Pat to come up, please, and say a few words. Thank you, Pat.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies. Anne, I think you would be really welcome in Milford Haven WI because we're a bunch of rebels. As they're actually here today with me, I've got 5 others. So Liz, if you could show them that we're in true form, ready to celebrate the ACM. But now on to a subject that I got involved with being chair of Milford Haven School, and it's the period poverty. And I'm sure, ladies, this is a subject that you would probably think that it It doesn't exist, but it does, and it's period poverty describes a person who cannot afford adequate protection. And there are plenty of people in Pembrokeshire and all over Wales that cannot afford the period protection. The Welsh Government have been very generous and given masses of money to schools in Wales all over for period poverty. And the funds have been used very wisely. They've been big red boxes, which has contained marvellous reusable pants, reusable menstrual cups, period pants, reusable pads. And Miss Baker, who was supposed to have done this presentation today, held a brunch for sixth form girls, and it started off with the sixth form to educate them and to discuss the ways forward to using reusable products. The the actual funds given by the Welsh Government, it can only be used for the period poverty. And we realised that actually they needed more. So, first of all, they had a big bloody brunch. I didn't particularly like the name of this, but it actually worked. Then the pandemic hit, so the school were absolutely marvellous, and so they started a project of periods in pandemic, and it was focused on raising awareness for period poverty and showcased some of the unique and creative ways that they had to try and combat period poverty. And Milford Haven School over the past 2 years, along with some of the community-based work, has been undertaken in direct response to COVID-19 and the negative effect that it had on some local families. A special thanks goes to all the people that were involved in it, and I've got to say that sixth form were wonderful and actually included the boys. So then they decided to add to this, which is the feminine hygiene packs, which every pupil, I think they did 135 bags to start with, and then it went up to 230. But these packs contain not only the period poverty things that the Welsh Government had given money for, but Milford WI contributed money and items towards these packs, and all the girls received, there were lots of things in there, like deodorants, even sweets, down to sweets. There were just things that could help the girls. They've had drop-in sessions, letters to parents and carers, pupil brunches, parent and carer organisation information. And during the pandemic, the information leaflets went out, and lots of community projects which were done with Milford Haven youth. And a guy there, Gail Gibby, was absolutely marvellous in helping to contribute all the information and distribute. Anne Fraser and I, who's chair of the Environment Committee, we both attended a conference that with Milford Youth Matters, and it was excellent. Reusable products, as you can see, there are 100 billion sanitary products thrown away each year. Each item takes at least 500 years to degrade. So that means that all the plastic-based tampons, etc., they're here for hundreds of years. And believe it or not, ladies, on an average, a woman will spend approximately £18,000 during their lives on sanitary products. So obviously, reusable products reduce the cost implication and periods, and actually has a positive impact on people affected by period poverty. The students have been delighted. We started at the sixth form and now it's been rolled down to year 7. Obviously, the schools feel that they have a moral obligation to ensure that the pupils are educated in all the sanitary products options available to them, and that they should support all the pupils to give them equal access. Period poverty is negatively affecting the education of some of our young people, and hopefully these products will make a positive difference to our girls. As I say, Milford Haven were very active in supporting this item, probably because they don't like saying no to me, but they were wonderful. And I've also been in touch with Haverford High School and Ysgol Harry Tudor, and I'm meeting with somebody there next week. As I said, the money given by the government, gratefully received, but can only be used for the products, whereas extra money going into it, we've been able to give out these packs. And I've been very, as I say, very grateful for the support of Milford WI. And will be very interested to know that the next project they're doing is Surface Against Sewage, so that will be interesting. I'm quite happy to take any questions.
I think they've gone into the chat box at the moment, but we get them out, Pat, later, yes? Anyone who's got anything that they want, if you bring it into the house on an email or to Pat James. Okay. I'm going to ask Sam Wilson-Croft to give it. Sorry.
Sorry, I can answer that one for Anne. Yes, there are other schools taking it on board, Liz.
Right.
And I am contacting them about it. It's not a case of every school needs extra funds, because not every school is in a deprived area. So I am talking to 2 schools at the moment who are in need of funds.
Okay, Pat. Thank you very much for the presentation in the absence of Gemma Baker. I think it's one that really needs to be addressed, especially with WI ladies. I'm going to ask Sam Wilson-Croft to give a little thank you to you. Please, Sam.
Hi, right. I'm going to carry on the tradition of using Welsh, and it is all going to be in a Kent accent, so you won't understand it anyway. And it's only going to be 3 words. So Diane, Pat, for the speech, that was bendigedig. That's about my limit. So Pat and Anne brought this to our attention a few months ago, and it is a really important issue for young women. And thank you, Pat, as well, for stepping in and doing the presentation at such short notice. And like Pat said, it may not affect us at this stage of our lives, but at some stage it has, and it affects your children and your grandchildren. And thinking about spending £18,000 over your lifetime on sanitary products is just an amazing thing to think about. That can buy you a brand new car, and 5 years for things to degrade. Also think about all that in our oceans as well. So we need to do something. The action is doing so much to remove the stigma and sometimes embarrassment of having to ask someone or having to use products that are really unhygienic, like on the pictures that Pat showed. You've got socks and everything else. And especially at the moment with COVID and everything else, people can't always get what they need. And it is a wonderful incentive, and that's why we chose it as recipient of our reverse advent calendar for November centenary celebrations. So we asked anyone to donate. So if your WIs have donated, thank you very much. If you haven't donated yet, hopefully Pat's talk will make you think about it and maybe make you want to just donate something towards it. So thanks, Pat, for such an informative talk and about such an important subject. Diolch yn fawr.
Well done, Sam. There's a competition going today. I'm getting out, yeah. But it's 5 minutes for a little comfort break, and if you'd like to come back, we've got a lot more to see. Thank you. Is everybody back? There's a few faces missing. We're going to start in a couple of seconds so that you don't all go home in the dark. Right now, next guest of entertainment is Puncheston. They live up in the valleys there, up in the mountains, and they're a wonderful group. They love coming to the Torch Theatre, like Mary Ades from Menevia. They're stalwarts. Whenever we get to the theatre, we all know who's coming next. So I'd like to hand over for the presentation of Puncheston, where Sam went out one evening and filmed them rehearsing and getting their act together. So it's over to Puncheston District WI, please.
Right, we put together a little piece about our observations and experience during lockdown. We hope you find it entertaining and maybe recognise yourself in some parts of it. Lockdown life was just a marvellous opportunity, wasn't it? I've been saying for years that if I just had a couple of weeks at home and all my commitments magically on hold, I could clean the house from top to bottom, get everything organised and get on top of the laundry. Turns out it wasn't that. In fact, I quickly found that there were only two sorts of days. Days when parcels arrived and when they didn't. I can't explain why I felt the need to keep ordering clothes. Where did I think I was going? I swear the postman started to mouth, "Oh, not you again," as he pulled up outside. At one point, I'd ordered so much stuff I had completely lost track of what on earth was going on. If DHL had turned up with a llama, I'd have said, "Whatever." Because it wasn't just clothes, was it? They were the hobbies. I ordered jigsaws and art supplies, gloss paint and knitting wool. And that's not to mention the books, everything from cooking to self-help books. I bought them all. Of course, they are pretty much still sitting there on my chest of drawers, looking at me reproachfully. Because what I actually did was binge watch Downton Abbey instead. I really think there should be a stimulus payment for anybody who got through lockdown without buying a puppy, 2 new monitors, or a Peloton bike. We kept the economy going. Unfortunately, we now have to find somewhere to put all the stuff we bought. If only I had a couple of weeks at home with no commitments. What about you, Betty?
Well, I think it's safe to say that lockdown changed my style somewhat. The first thing to go was my bra. Years of wearing the modern day straitjacket gleefully consigned to the knicker drawer as I wandered round like a latter-day child of the summer love, unfettered, safe in the knowledge nobody was going to see me except my family. And we quickly got to the point where we only met accidentally in the kitchen, foraging for forgotten Jaffa cakes or escapees from yet another multi-pack of crisps lurking at the back of the cupboard. Next, I gave up anything with a button waistband as the Jaffa cakes and mini cheddars worked their magic. By Christmas, jogging bottoms were aspirational. I graduated to full-time pyjamas and a blanket. I didn't abandon all standards though. I kept a couple of nice tops ready for the Zoom meetings. They went great with pyjama bottoms. I found the transition back to normal life quite traumatic, to be honest, starting with having to face my hairdresser with my home cut with kitchen scissors fringe, quite apart from the horror of going back to getting dressed and wearing a mask. Mind you, I'm grown very used to wearing a mask. I don't want to stop now. I'm not really worried about infection. It's more that I've been mouthing "sod off" at people in the supermarkets from behind it for months. And I'm not sure I will remember they can see me without one. What about you then? Isabel.
Well, I have spent lots of quality time with my family through lockdown, and I have to say it's been something of a revelation. I spent the last 10 years telling the kids they need less screen time, and the last 18 months making them sit in front of a computer all day. It's not just the online schooling, it's the irresistible lure of blessed silence when 3 teenagers stop trying to kill each other and start killing online aliens. I stopped yelling at the kids for going out and started yelling at my parents for it instead. Yes, I know you survived the war, Dad, but that doesn't actually count in this situation. And by the way, but I always go out for my paper doesn't mean it's classed as an essential journey. On the bright side, the dog has never been walked so much. He took to playing dead when anybody approached with the lead by week 3. I became very good at infection control. Do you know, if you have a piece of cake in one hand and a glass of wine in the other, you can't touch your face. It's true. I took to heart the view that the lockdown was the new, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, you see. I came to realise that 90% of my social life was meeting people and going for food with them. So I just did the same at home. Marvellous. There was no anxiety about what to wear or how to get home, nobody to pinch chips off your plate, and nobody to comment if I had Prosecco and donuts for 11s. On a unrelated note I should say, does anyone know when Slimming World is restarting? Now, over to you, Lewin.
Well, lockdown made us all think about living a more self-sufficient and sustainable lifestyle, didn't it? I got very interested in cooking for a while at the beginning. I watched lots of jolly cooking programs with a chef who claimed he was having the same experience of me, standing in his £20,000 kitchen in his £1 million house, saying things like, "Today, I'm going to show you how to make a quick and delicious lunch for 6 with ingredients you will already have in your cupboard. You will need Madagascar vanilla, hemp milk, and a feather from a tail of a phoenix. Oh, yay, Jamie, what can I do with some tomato ketchup? Chopped walnuts, uncertain vintage, and an egg." So I gave that up and decided to take up growing my own food and remodeling the garden. I found buying new plants was a great way to fill the void. I didn't think too much about where they were going to go or all that soil pH stuff, though so they mostly aren't a problem now. I had a little more success with the food side of things. I got sick of mowing the lawn, so I hit on the idea of raised beds. I gleefully set about researching planks and nails. Isn't skill fix fun, by the way? It's like IKEA for boys. All that stuff with strange names and purposes one can only guess at. Anyway, it turned out my other half wasn't too keen on raised beds on his precious lawn. So in the end, I just stuck to grow bags in the greenhouse. Well, I can't tell you how absorbing it was. I mainlined Gardener's World, mostly of Monty Don, if I'm honest. He was decorative, but he wasn't very useful. He always seemed to be propagating rare orchids or earnestly telling us it was time to divide our hollyhocks or something. He never seemed to say useful things. How to remember to close the greenhouse door so the dog didn't go in and dig up all the seedlings, or how to tell what on earth you had planted. Let's face it, little green shoots look all the same. But I persisted, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching my seedlings break through the soil and grow into recognizable things like lettuce and, well, mostly lettuce, to be honest. There were so many varieties, I got a bit carried away. I envisioned glorious summer salads with our own produce, freshly plucked and served up to oohs and ahs of appreciation. That didn't happen. The offspring inexplicably left my lettuces to bolt like a Welsh mountain pony at a gymkhana and continue to live on pot noodles and pizza. Last but not least, Sue.
Well, we can't leave this piece without mentioning the lockdown phenomenon that was the Zoom meeting. We all fell in love with the idea at first. No need to leave the comfort of your sofa, a nice full glass of wine, only in a mug to look like tea, as we didn't have to drive, the possibility of checking Facebook surreptitiously without being seen when things got a bit boring. What's not to love? Well, lots of things, as it turns out. Firstly, there's the mesmerising distraction of being able to see oneself in a little picture on the screen. I became instantly absorbed and horrified in equal measure by how I looked. When did I get those wrinkles? And I've got double chins and a scraggy neck. Is that even possible? And what the hell is that weird face I keep pulling when I speak? I can't tell you how many times I completely missed what was being said because I was staring at the chin hair that I was sure stood out like a beacon to everyone else, and wondering if I could make an excuse to run off to the bathroom and find the tweezers. And Zoom certainly sorted the techies from the technically challenged. By the time we had got everybody in the room, off mute and on the camera, who knew there were iPad covers that covered the camera? The free 40 minutes was pretty much gone and gone. But how great is that 40-minute cut-off though? No mercy, 40 minutes and that's it, you're gone. Mid-sentence or not. It saves hours of life-sapping torture. Of course, there is an option to pay for unlimited Zoom. But why? Who would do such a cruel thing? Which gives some team members, and there is at least one in every meeting, the opportunity to talk on and on and on. And if that person is hosting the meeting, they will mute everyone else. So while they want to make a point, and there's no escape. Zoom needs to introduce rapid up music like they have at the Oscars. These new technologies bring whole new problems, like what to do with your facial expression after you've said goodbye and you're desperately trying to find the exit button and trying to make conversation with the two people present while you wait for everybody else to work out how to get to the meeting. Well, all in all, I'm ready to get back to real life meetings. And if we could just find a way to fit them with a mute button too, that would be perfect.
Thank you so much, Puncheston. It's a lovely place to go out to meet their meeting. They live up in the Taverns Inc area. Cynthia Jennings, a young farmer, and she's in their group as well. They're awesome to go and visit of an evening. Thank you, ladies. That was lovely. I'm now going to ask Mary Adey to give the Board of thanks to the Board of Trustees, please, Mary.
Thank you, Jenny. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman and fellow members. And it is my privilege this year to give the vote of thanks to the Board of Trustees. And like everybody else, I was hoping to do this in person at the pavilion, but safe rather than sorry, I suspect. And the board, along with all the rest of us, have had to work very hard indeed over the last year to 18 months just to keep us all together. And just like my own WI, which Jenny has already said, we celebrated our 50th birthday this year. And along with the Pembrokeshire Federation, who are celebrating their 100th, we had so many plans of everything that was going to happen to celebrate. But everything changed and everything has had to be very, very low key. I know a lot of my members, and certainly myself, I was really looking forward to all the wonderful celebrations that there might have been had there been no pandemic this summer. But I am hoping that this is the last ACM that we will be doing over Zoom, and hopefully this time next year, we will all be in person, face to face. I mean, one of the things that our WI we're very thankful for the invaluable help that you all gave us for the use of the Zoom franchise. And I know everybody is saying, oh, Zoom, we're all fed up with Zoom. But it brought many of our older members into the 21st century, because if they wanted to join in meetings, they had to learn how to use Zoom. And they're now no longer afraid of their computers or their iPads, and they learned something new in lockdown. But the last line of our little ode to 2020, I think, is something that the WI, it's just what we all are, which is if we lean on each other, I know we can cope. And thank you, ladies, for all you have done and achieved this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for those kind words. It's very kind of you. We're now coming to the announcement of the Board of Trustees, and I'm handing over to the girls upstairs with the technology and our secretary, because it's all confidential until today. Thank you.
So, it's my job to announce a new Board of Trustees. To make it a little bit more interesting, we have a film to show you, so I'm going to let them play that now. Thank you. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you very much indeed. The most important thing now is you're going to be entertained by the ukulele ladies, and this was filmed here in the house. And I really love these ladies. They make me laugh. They used to always practice here on a Tuesday afternoon. So whoever did house duty got a real lovely afternoon to listen to them. It's lovely.
It's a little Federation, moving this along. Federation, moving it so long. 100 years now, still going strong. Federation, Chris, Chris and more. Federation, Chris, Chris and more. All can rise now, you're at our core. Federation, cooking and stand on. Federation, cooking and stand on. Campaigns as well now, help us play our part. Federation, it's 100 years more. Federation, it's 100 years more. Colours to the wind, who have gone before. Celebration, it's 100 years more. Celebration, it's 100 years more. To the women, it was the last door. To the women, it was to last door. Yay!
Well done, ladies. Did you see the identical twins in there? Well, many years ago, Margaret and I went as advisors to get a president because they hadn't got a president. And we ended up putting the pair of them in. So the ladies never knew which one was taking the meeting each week. So it always works, doesn't it, for friendship? And they are a great group. And any Tuesday afternoon you're fed up, come and sit in and listen to them play. Well, we're going on to presentations, which is quite quick for Kate Kelly now, and then the raffle and the draw, and then Milford. So over to you, Kate, please.
Hello, thank you. It's going to be split between me and Mary. So I have the great pleasure of announcing the winners of the recruitment awards. First place, we have Lud Church WI with a growth factor of 0.6. Second place, Prendergast and Crindale WI with a growth factor of 0.36. And third place, Lamphy and District WI with a growth factor of 0.17. Well done, ladies, keep up the good work. And the second one I have to announce is the Federation winner of the Lady Denman Cup competition, which, just to remind you, is a writing competition of 500 words. This year it was Let Me Show You What a Woman Can Do. And we have a winner, Shirley Hammond Williams from Boston WI. Well done. I'm going to pass you over now to Mary. If she can unmute herself, she's got some things to announce.
Right, we're delighted to announce the competition results. The Anne Murphy Craft Shield, first place is Claire Wainwright from Lamphy and District. The second place, Cynthia Jennings from Puncheston and District WI. And third place, which is shared, Leah Pittman, Henna WI, and Mary Taylor, Burton WI. The Bisley Munt Art Competition, first place, Barbara Beebrach, Norton WI. Second place, Ruth Ashworth, Carew WI. And third place, Margaret Pike, Mathry WI. Thank you to everybody who entered our competitions this year. The judges were most impressed by all the high standard of your work.
Thank you very much, Mary and Kate. We're now going to I'm going to hand you over to Margaret, our treasurer, for the 100 club draw and the raffle. So let's hope you're lucky, ladies.
First of all, how wonderful to hear the ukulele ladies. When I was in on duty on a Tuesday, I used to love listening to them. I was a bit worried one day when I heard them singing about Alistair Campbell. And I thought, Why are they singing about Alistair Campbell? But it was Alice the camel. So they informed me. Anyway, on to the draws and raffle. Kate and I have already drawn the draws. We've got this fantastic new device called a random number generator, which is done on the computer. So I'm going to announce the 100 Club draw first of all. The first prize for December is Frank Brown. Now, Frank isn't a WI member, but he is the son of one of our longest serving members and an ex-trustee, Margaret Brown. And every year he signs up for the 100 Club. The second prize is to Liz Shaw Brookman, and the third prize is for Denise Jones. I've already done their checks and they'll be on their way, but the announcement will also be put into the newsletter. The raffle, we had 12 prizes. They were almost all donated. Also be put into the newsletter and the winners, just to make sure that everybody gets to hear about them. And what we would say is that if you have been lucky enough to win a prize, can you please collect it from WI House on a Tuesday, or if you need to come in on a Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be happy to give you your prizes then, if you just ring before you're coming to let us know, so that we'll make sure someone's there. Okay, well, I'm going to hand back now to Jenny, I think. Is that right, Jen? Thank you very much, everyone.
Right, two last bits coming up, which you're going to love, is Milford Haven girls with a little bit of entertainment. But I must insist you all stay in your seats afterwards for the most amazing little piece of national anthems that was done by Sam Croft, and it's really worth looking, especially the last bit, which is the Queen, very close to my heart, and the pictures and some of us all at the Royal Albert Hall. So stay in your seats afterwards, please, ladies. So we're now on a guest entertainment of Milford Haven WI, a wonderful group of ladies, full of fun. If ever you want to go down to any of their evenings, they would love to have you. Over to Milford Haven, please. I thought you'd like that. They're very good at the theatre. I'm going to say farewell to you now and thank you all for coming, but do just listen to the national anthems. I find them very moving and it's been well put together. Thank you all, and thank you so much, Anne, for coming. We do appreciate it. Hope we see you soon. And congratulations to everyone today who's put a lot of work into this. Thank you very much, Pembrokeshire BOT, and all you ladies out there. And have a good weekend. Bye-bye.